This franchise hasn't got a lot of things that have received a nerf per se. Things like the T-Rexes, for example, weren't nerfed, they were just outclassed by the strongest theropods, so people think they're now weak. But it's like saying a lion isn't strong because you compare it to a polar bear. However, there are exceptions. Some creatures in the Jurassic Saga have in fact gotten weaker with the newest movie. Two to be more specific. One is arguably not that bad and while somewhat controversial, put a new spin in the franchise, but the other was a straight up hate crime. This was the only scene that made me almost close my laptop when I watched the film. They not only used my favorite model of that particular species, but also the exact same color scheme of my glorious king, and made him get absolutely bodied. As usual, if you want to give any suggestions or just yap about anything prehistoric with me, or anyone else interested in this kind of stuff, join the Discord. We recently hit 1000 members and are on the way to 2000. Speaking of reaching certain goals, it's looking like this channel will hit 100,000 subscribers by late September or early October. Still not sure what I'm going to do for that milestone, but I'll figure it out. Might do a live Q&A in a dinosaur costume, who knows. Anyway, enough about numbers, let's get back to the dinosaurs that got nerfed in the newest movie. I'll start off with the one that actually pissed me off just to end on a somewhat positive note for the video. I'm sure you all know by now just how OP the raptors in the Jurassic franchise are. From the first 3 movies to the newest installments, these things did not discriminate when it came to throwing hands. You could be a massive theropod pushing 8 tons and a single raptor that weighs like 300 pounds will 100% run a fade with you. You gotta be dinosaur Satan or something for them to run away. For those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you know without a doubt my favorite raptor variant in the saga is the one from Jurassic Park 3. More specifically, my glorious Quilliam. This is the name the fandom gave the male Alpha Raptor in Jurassic Park 3. The quills on the head and the red and blue color accents along the body, followed with a sleek design, made it arguably the best model if I'm going to be honest. Now despite this, these guys were extremely strong. 20 of them jumped the Spinosaurus, and even though they took like 12 losses, still managed to bring 87 down. Well, at least that was in the old script that was supposed to be in the movie but was scrapped. I know 20 sounds a lot and it is, but you gotta remember Acid 87 isn't a normal dinosaur. This guy is arguably the most insane of the big 3 and has durability feats that would put a tank to shame. If anything, I thought it would have been like 30 of them at least to even weaken him, but hey, they pulled it off in the discontinued script. Now, with this in mind, you think a raptor using the same models and a very similar color scheme should be a menace as well, right? Well, you thought wrong, because they took that raptor and made it get ragdolled by something just slightly larger than it. I don't care what you say, this was the biggest nerf I have ever seen in the entire saga. All of you are probably thinking, chill my guy, it's not that serious. Yes it is that serious, it is personal. It is personal! The big one on her own, who despite her name isn't bigger than any of her packmates, Muldoon just gave her that name because she was the most dominant. She saw her packmate get annihilated right in front of her by an adult T-Rex, and you know what she did? She didn't run away, she looked at her fellow raptor's dead body, then back at Rexy and then jumped the T-Rex and started assaulting it. She did not care about the size difference whatsoever, even though she was killed for her boldness at the end of the day. Aside from them making the raptor die so pathetically, they also made the pack member run for the hills the moment it saw another one get jumped. Didn't give a second thought or nothing, just a quick glance and then it dipped. Now, like I said, the big one attacked an adult T-Rex even though she saw another raptor killed right in front of her, and the 2 remaining raptors near the end of Jurassic World took on the most powerful theropod of the franchise when they thought Blue died, and tried to protect Owen. But regardless, that's what Jurassic Park raptors do. They have their brashness and overwhelming intelligence. Then of course, as I said, there was the scrap script of a group of raptors bringing Acid 87 down. Hell, I'll go even deeper down this rabbit hole. Pause. Atrociraptors also have the same mindset. They took on different carnivores that significantly outclassed them in size. So why would they make these raptors so different in terms of behavior? This had so much potential. You know, with the whole every dinosaur on this island was so dangerous it couldn't be released on the other island theme. And it did have a good design with a Jurassic Park 3 model and a slightly different color scheme, but they just blew it up. They made the raptor die as though it was fodder and also turned them into, well, not cowards, but animals that had more self-preservation, because these guys behaved more like real raptors than any of the raptors before them, stalking the guy who was taking a piss and using the sound of his golden stream to sneak up unnoticed and then running away at the slightest sign of danger. But that's not what Jurassic Park raptors do. They are T-Rex jumping, hybrid attacking maniacs that are not afraid of punching above their weight class. Much less an animal that's like 50 pounds heavier. If Owen saw these guys in the wild, he'd give them the middle finger or just walk away, leaving them bamboozled. As for if they ran into any of the older raptors, then they'd quickly be torn apart. The same with the Mutodon. It's a powerful animal in its own right, but heaven have mercy if it tried to jump any of the old gen raptors. Even if it won, it would be half dead and unable to fly away after killing it. And if there was a second raptor, it would get tag teamed. Quilliam honestly didn't die to be reincarnated as this. But speaking about newer designs and tag teaming, the second dinosaur that got a nerf was the Spinosaurus, which is what most of you were probably expecting. However, unlike the Velociraptors, I like the design and it's a fun twist on the animal. With that said, they are an example of just because they're deemed the most dangerous doesn't mean they're the most powerful, because these guys may have slightly more versatility and have a much better coordination system when it comes to pack hunting compared to 87, which arguably makes them more deadly to us in the water. But in a straight 1v1, Acid 87 low diffs. I'd go so far as to say that he could fight two of them at the same time if it's on land. If you've seen Rebirth, then I think you know the outcome of the fight is pretty obvious. For one, I don't even know if they can walk on two legs like Acid 87, and if they could, it would be very awkward. They, like the Velociraptors, don't have that crash out energy. They lean more on the self-preservation side of things, which is fine. I mean, the whole point was to make them more accurate, which they did an amazing job with, especially implementing the whole web feet thing. But while they pulled back after seeing the boat going toward the rocks, Acid 87 would have likely followed them if he was able to match the speed. This guy followed people across the entire map. He fought T-Rexes and then tore a plane apart just to try and kill our species. And he's also much bigger. In Camp Cretaceous, he's like 10 tons, while Rebirth Spinosaurus are somewhere between 7 and 8. On land, Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus easily takes terrain advantage, and in the water he isn't that much worse compared to the newer Spinosaurus. Yes, he isn't as fast or maneuverable in the water, but it's not terrible. I mean, he was able to catch up to a speedboat in Jurassic Park 3 and casually take the two people on it. It isn't confirmed, but he's the only candidate that could have done it. At the time, the Pteranodons were still confined to the aviary, and there are no reports of any marine reptiles made on or around Isla Sorna. However, I will give Rebirth Spinosaurus tactics. These guys not only have a mutual relationship with a grey whale-sized mosasaur, but also work very well together. You can see these guys taking turns in some scenes trying to get a shot of killing one of the humans, and whether it's deliberate or not, you could also see one member jam the boat and dislodge a person, which was perfect for the other Spinosaurus who was in the exact same area. I mean, it missed, but it was very close. And besides, the people of this movie have way too much plot armor. I mean, look at the family who survived the T-Rex attack, and then there's Duncan, who's the worst offender of them all. How were you, mere feet away from the Distortus Rex, and still somehow survived? They also have a higher IQ compared to Acid 87, not battle intelligence but just raw processing capabilities. When one noticed the people on the beach, it clocked this, but instead of roaring like a maniac and taking part in a fruitless chase where it wouldn't be able to catch them, it acted nonchalant and just waddled into the water, making it seem as though it's just going out to sea. But moments later, when everyone's too distracted, it lunges out of the water and grabs the lady from behind, sealing her fate. So while Acid 87 is by far more powerful and has insane feats, these guys are still good in their own right. Their model is pretty good, and their ability to coordinate with creatures outside of their own species is a nice touch. I don't think Acid 87 would be able to work with even himself if they cloned him, much less if they introduced him to these guys. So what about the Rexes, X-Rod? Like I said in the beginning, these things are not nerfed. They are still extremely powerful and will run a fade with any theropod regardless of the size. They were just knocked a little down the hierarchy because after the Lost World, the directors basically lost all respect for them and made every other mega theropod way more OP, because the trope of a T-Rex getting bodied regardless on whose side you're on will always get more views. And hey, even if you disregard that, they still couldn't have received a nerf because they actually got a buff in Rebirth, with Ember, who is more than likely now the largest theropod in the entire franchise. And if InGen didn't trust releasing him on Side B with the other Rexes, then it's pretty safe to say that he's a menace. And believe it or not, in the original ending, he was supposed to have a final battle with the D-Rex and somehow won. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe he had human assistance with guns or something, but regardless, a dub is a dub. So the Rexes of the Jurassic Saga are gonna be alright. Also, I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea. Just because I'm disappointed in the raptor scene doesn't mean I didn't like the movie. Yes, it wasn't as good as I was expecting because the trailer itself was most of the screen time for a lot of animals, but the story was still decent. It's just that clip of Quilliam's model being defamed which I can't forgive. I am genuinely curious as to what direction the franchise is going in though. From what I've seen, there's going to be 2 more installments, so what are they going to do? More mutants / hybrids, or will we get introduced to brand new species or buffed ones of previous generations? But that's pretty much it for this one, folks. Do you think I'm overreacting when it comes to the raptor dying, or is it a justified crash out? And if there are any dinosaurs you think also got a debuff, let me know down below. Anyway, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.